Hi, thank you so much for tuning back in. I hope you caught the last episode where we started a conversation with Wanjiru Githiomi, the CEO of BimaNet. And I'm really excited to get into the discussions around how she went about making herself ready to invest back home, even though she was partially or mostly based in the diaspora. So stay tuned. You're watching Own Land in Kenya, and I'm Solomon Wangwe. So Wanjiru,
yes, Solomon.
You're based in Cape Town,
yes,
South Africa. You're looking to start this new venture in Kenya,
yes,
which I imagine is nice because you're Kenyan.
yes,
It allows you to kind of stay in touch with your roots.
absolutely.
But when did you start to think around investing in land in Kenya?
Oh, many years ago. Thinking about it or affording it, those are two different questions.
Well,
thinking about it was from day one.
Uh-huh.
But of course, getting a little bit of cash, you know, when you go to the diaspora, you do what you got to do to survive and go through college. But all the time that I was in college, my husband and I always thought, you know what, we need to figure out how to put some of our money in Kenya when we start working.
Right.
But physically really starting to invest in Kenya, that was about 14 years ago.
Okay.
That's when we started buying land in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Before I let you get into that, tell us more about your experience settling in Cape Town. I know I've heard a little bit.
Oh, gosh.
I think it will be helpful for people to kind of understand.
How much time do you have?
No, feel free.
It was. I mean, it's. You know, when we left, I left when I was a very young girl, and I left with very little resources. I don't come from a wealthy family, so I left with about 30,000 shillings in my pocket and a dream. And I
30K.
Yes, 30K.
Wow.
And I took a one-way ticket on Air Malawi. A one-way. I could only afford a one-way ticket to Johannesburg via Lilongwe at that time. And I remember when I came in, when I went to South Africa, we didn't even need visas to get in there. So I was like, I'm gonna wing it. And that time there was no internet, and it was just, I just said, I'm the airport. I'm coming to watch the World Cup.
Right.
Okay, yes, ma'am, get in. And then from there I took a train, a 26-hour third-class ride to Cape Town.
26
hours on third class on a train. And I didn't have a house, I didn't have a college, I had nothing. I was only 20. I turned 21 in South Africa, so okay, you can do your numbers, yes. I'm way into my 40s now.
It's okay.
So did what I had to do. Thank goodness, I think I was focused. I was very clear that I wanted to go to law school, and I knew I deserved better and I wanted to do better. So I had to go back to high school when I got there, because there was no, we couldn't go to university straight away.
Ah, no way.
No, you couldn't.
Wow.
I had to go and do a year of matric, which was like a pre-university. And I did pretty well.
Okay.
So I went to the University of Cape Town and hustled. I worked 2 jobs. I waitressed, I plaited hair, I sold curios. You know, whatever you need to do, you do. You know, you got to meet the school fees, you have to pay the rent. And I think one of the things I used to love doing was when I was traveling home, I'd buy stuff in Cape Town, like wallets, cheapo wallets and suits, and I'd come and sell them. And you know, by the grace of God, I always say nobody opened my bags. I should have paid a lot of tax. And this is not a permission to the government of South Africa to charge me any tax. It's too late. The law of limitations is too late.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'd come to Kenya and I'd sell stuff to my friends and go and buy things from Kenya, put them in my bag and travel down to Cape Town. And it sort of kept me going, you know, doing this and that so that I could accumulate enough money to just
get into college.
To get into and to stay in college.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
That's a very short narrative of, of the many years.
No, the reason I wanted to ask is because, you know, people always assume that because you were able to leave the country and go study abroad, that somehow it was nice, it was easy.
Oh goodness, no.
And you know, you mentioned you needed to do that just to stay in school. I mean, I've shared before with our audience that statistically, 85% of all foreign students in the US, this was a statistic about 10 years ago, 85% never finish school.
Wow.
And not just Kenyan,
Wow.
this is in general.
Wow.
Because
and why is that?
they run out of money paying for school fees because their primary support system is from wherever they came from. And so, there's this impression back home that everything is good, you're in a foreign place, you're earning in foreign income, send money back home, you're getting a good education. And some of that is true, but I don't think people really appreciate some of the struggles that we go through trying to get a better education in a foreign place with limited immigration status and resources. So I'm glad to hear you share that experience, so we don't think that you were bawling all the way.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
If I were, because I expect to, take my children to a foreign country, specifically to the UK to study, I wouldn't do it that way, because obviously now I have more resources. I would make sure that if my children are going to go abroad to study, I have enough money to support them.
Yeah, sure.
I can pay the school fees and give them the best chance at succeeding. Does that mean I'm not teaching them how to be on the hustle? Absolutely. Never take away the struggle from your children. But it's not wise, as you say, 85% of young people that go abroad to study don't finish school because they're not properly supported.
Right.
So it's not all rosy out there. It's not. But I would not do it differently because of what it taught me.
Yeah.
It built my spiritual and intellectual muscle for a lot of other things. It made me very resourceful. And until today, when you say there's no other way out, you just have to find a way. That's the same attitude I go with at life.
Right.
Yeah, just, what? One door closes, open another one. One door closes, open another one.
Yeah. Kick it down.
Kick
whatever.
it down, do what you got to do.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hold that thought. We'll be back with, I promise in the next episode, we'll get into how she went about investing in land back home in Kenya, even though she was based in Cape Town at the time. So stay tuned. You're watching Own Land in Kenya, and I am Solomon Wangwe.